Saturn is the furthest out planet that we can see with the naked eye. Things mean what they mean in astrology because of what they are. Saturn is connected to limits, boundaries of all kinds. And it's also the planet of death. That's our greatest limit. Even though Saturn isn't the end of the universe, it's the end of, it's the visible limit of our solar system. There are things beyond, just like there are things beyond death. Most likely, but we can't see them. Whatever is beyond death. Saturn in astrology is connected to duty and obligation and gravitas and heaviness and saying no and restrictions. All of this going back to limits. Saturn rules two signs, Aquarius and Capricorn. Capricorn is the yin or nighttime version of Saturn, and it's about working from within the structure, ascending to the top of the structure from within, knowing the rules and working with them, working within the system. It's also the sign of tradition and the past. Capricorn is conservative, whereas Aquarius is the yang or masculine or daytime version of Saturn. And it's about getting outside, seeing things as they are from outside the structure, whether that's by being exiled or not being let in to begin with, and then making improvements, perhaps imposing new traditions. It's still Saturn though, so it's still limits. It's not necessarily, while Aquarius is often associated with freedom, the type of freedom that Aquarius grants is freedom from tradition, not necessarily freedom, period. The Rider-Waite system of tarot uses astrological correspondences. The card given to Saturn is the world. This being bridges heaven and earth. Like all humans, we have a spiritual component that's just as significant as our earthly, physical, material bodies. It's just not all that acknowledged in Western, developed, globalized reality, alert, waking consciousness. And this being is wreathed, is boundaried. It has a ring around it. It's everything made real. Saturn makes things real, and to make things real, you need limits. You can imagine all you want, and that's a type of freedom, because you don't have to make any of it real. Saturn is about limits, because it is about what is physically, materially real. And it is the last planet we can physically view with the naked eye in our solar system, without the aid of technologies or remote viewing. There are other technologies besides material ones. The planets outside the Kuiper belt in our charts and by transit, Jupiter and Saturn, Uranus and Neptune, and Pluto, which is not a planet, but it is a body considered prominently in astrology, but that's another video. These outer planets are about how we individually relate to the whole. And in our natal chart, these planets signify our personal relationship with eras and cultures, and by transit, our personal relationships with whatever part of an era these planets point to. There's our relationship to it in our natal chart, which is sort of like the baseline. And then for everyone, by transit, these are the trends. Jupiter points to like year-long eras. Saturn takes 27 years to transit the zodiac, so it spends approximately 3 years in a given sign, a little era. So next we'll talk about transits.